All right, good morning, guys. Once again, just finishing a workout. This morning, I did some arms, so biceps and triceps. Doing another quick walk, trying to recap a little on yesterday and add to it. So yesterday I kind of ended with, how I grew up and started my business. I'm going to backtrack a little, just to fill in some details. So when I was 9 years old, 9, I got a job delivering newspapers. Now, I know nowadays there is no newspapers, or at least not like it was, but I got a job. I think in our state or our area, you had to be like 12 or 13 really to deliver newspapers. So we actually put it under my mom's name, and I did all the work. Majority of the work. Each with newspapers, you'd collect the money and everything like every 2 weeks, and then you'd pay out your bills to the newspaper person, and you get what's left. It's a decent little job for kids when I was younger. Sounds so old I sound so old to be saying that, and it's just because of the way technology has become over even the past 10 years. But anyway, when I was 9, I was delivering newspapers, and like every 2 weeks or so I would get like $30, $40, and I would think like, man, I worked all that time for that much money. Turns out a couple years later I found out that my mom would take the majority of the money and keep it and lead me on to believe I was only making $20 to $30 every 2 weeks, maybe 40. It was a real small amount. So I ended up giving up on that for a year or so. Then when I was 12, I started up again, and that's when I realized, money was being taken at a younger age. But at 12 or 13, around that age, I got a newspaper route to put myself through karate school, and I paid for my own karate tuition and everything, so I could stay doing it. I did different forms of karate for damn near 16 years. My favorite is actually Kempo. I did straight Korean Kempo for a while, but that's a different story. I've always been a worker my whole life, and I think the reason why is because I grew up such a loser, and I was a loser. I was the kid in school that even in elementary school, nobody wanted to really deal with or talk to, and I was always picked on and bullied, and I hate that word bullying. I think it's used as a political statement anymore, but not that it's right in any way, but when we were younger, that was just kind of the standard of what happened, and right or wrong, that's what happened, and in a way kind of built character. Well, nobody was ever interested in me. I was never one of the cool kids, never, like so many of us, and that all added to my anger issues as I got older. But I guess when I hit middle school or so, I started acting out, and maybe a lot of it had to do with trying to be accepted or feeling accepted by people. Like I said, I was a loser. I had no girlfriend until I was 17 or 16. I really was a total loser. But my anger started growing from middle school on through high school. I started getting into lots of fights, like I said yesterday. And when I mean lots of fights, I'm not saying once in a while we'd have a fight. I'm saying there was times we were doing 5 or 6 fights a night. There was one time at the high school for a pep rally that me and a bunch of friends started a big riot, and looking back now, it was kind of stupid, and you wonder why kids do that. But, at the time, that's just the type of people we were. And what I'm getting at is, it's not that I'm proud of any of this. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of this shaped my future and drove me to who I was, or who I am. After all that, like I said yesterday, GED, probation took me out of school and kicked out of my house, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. I ended up living with my grandmother, who, has always been there for me, realistically. Her and my grandfather, they were always there and always looked out for me. So I went to live with her for a little while, and until I met Angie and whatnot. But what I always did was, since I was 5 years old, I always wanted to be an electrical contractor. Only because my grandfather, not the one I just mentioned, but my other grandfather, who's dead now, grew up an orphan in an orphanage, and kind of like turned 18 and you're out on the street type of orphanage back then. He started his own electrical contracting company and became a self-made millionaire, doing like all government work and stuff. And he built a great legacy, and it was always the role model. We were never close. For some reason, my mom kept us away from them and regretted them, and I really don't know why. I know she has her reasons, her feelings, and that's fine, but we were never close. But it was a role model that I had that I looked up to. So since I was 5, I wanted to be an electrician. I know it's odd. Most kids want to be teachers, astronauts, president, sports players, actors. I just wanted to be a low-class electrician. So when I was taken out of school around 17, I got my first job as an electrical contractor, working for a local contractor. I used to carry my tools, 2.5 miles to and from work each day, because I wasn't driving at the time. I ended up driving a couple months later, but at the time I wasn't, which is kind of unheard of now, because if kids have to walk 10 blocks to get to work, they won't work. It's ridiculous. But I'd carry my tools to and from, making $7 an hour or so, and started doing new homes and learning the ropes. And you're abused back then. You're kind of abused now, as an apprentice, but I worked my ass off, did what I had to. After that, I went to like 3 or 4 other electrical companies, because I knew that I didn't want to do houses, and that company was only houses. So I kind of had to find my way in as a commercial electrician. I ended up doing so. At a young age, ended up working my way up to a project manager, which is normally like a job for 50-year-old electricians. And I found myself as a project manager at 27 years old, which, like I said, is unheard of. It was to the point I would walk into meetings and everyone would kind of like laugh and joke at me and make fun, because I'm just a young, know-nothing kid, kind of like I got all through school. And at the end of the day, I'd outsmart them, and I would outthink them and push my way to get my way over on them. And it was actually a good feeling for me, because even though I was technically a high school dropout, and even though I don't have the college degree and everything, my whole life everybody treated me as less than them. I still do. I still get treated like less than them, and worthless. And I would just sit back and play dumb, and at the end of the day, my street smarts, I guess you would say, is what actually helped me through. I'm a strong believer, and I'm not putting down anybody who has a school education. You guys are smart in your own right, and spend a lot of time, and you should appreciate that. But see, the way that I learned and the way that I taught myself and my understanding leads me to think more rationally and more common sense, like, rather than what was imprinted in me, if that makes sense. because of that, I was able to outthink everybody for the most part. I know yesterday I said I was 34 when I started my own company. I kind of misworded it. It was 2012, and I was 32 years old. What happened was, I got, like I said, I walked out on my other company, and got hired to come in and supplement them. And this was a large company. I mean, they ran like 50 guys and did like $10 million a year. Large company, been around 30 years. So, the contractor called me and said, hey, do you have any guys yet? We need you to come in and finish this job. It only makes sense for you to do it because you were the one that knows the job inside and out from the other company. So, I'm like, yeah. I had no work. I had no jobs. I had no guys, nothing. What I did was I called up a bunch of friends, had them come in and pretend like they were electricians. I said, just keep your mouth shut. Don't answer any questions. Come to me. Ask me. Anyone says anything to you, shake your head and say, I'll talk to Brian. And that's what we did. I went in there with 7 guys who were nothings. I mean, one was a carpenter, one just cleaned, and another one, they had no experience. By the end of the day, I had the other electrical contracting company asking my guys what to do next. And that just goes to show you that, if you have confidence in what you're doing and believe in yourself and want to make your dream come true, you I don't want to say bullshit, but you kind of do. You push your way through and you make it happen. You don't show any form of uncertainty or being scared or any of that stuff. You push and you do what you have to make your dream come true. Now, that first job and bullshitting my way through it led me on to being a multi-million-dollar company. And like I said, I made $7,600 for that year. The next year I was like 1.5. The year after that, 2.5. And before long, I'm negotiating out $5-6 million contracts, running 50 to 80 guys. So 2015 hits, and I had a big nursing home going on. And it was like 200 rooms or something like that, and a large 5-story ground-up building. And you know what? I'm going to stop right there, and we'll continue that talk tomorrow. See you.